During the Cold War era, the United States Central Intelligence Agency, or CIA, engaged in covert actions to combat communism and to further U.S. interests abroad. One of these covert actions was Operation Ajax. This operation is important not only because it would create ongoing hostility between the United States and Iran, but also because it inspired many other similar operations in various countries. Even though this operation had an ambitious aim and was effectively executed, it is rarely discussed today. Part of this is because the CIA only declassified information about Operation Ajax 64 years after its successful completion, in 2017. Let's travel back to post-World War II Iran. Many Iranians are eager to gain control of their country's oil resources. Enter democratically elected Prime Minister Mohammad Mossadegh. Mossadegh wants to take control of Iran's oil assets and cut ties with the British, whose private firms, such as the Anglo-Iranian Oil Company, have been in control of Iran's abundant oil resources for decades. By the end of the 1920s, the Anglo-Iranian Oil Company had taken control over virtually all the oil resources in Iran. They made vast amounts of money from these resources, benefiting themselves and their shareholders, but providing limited benefit to the people of Iran. Furthermore, working conditions for Iranian workers were abysmal, and they were paid meager salaries. Great Britain, along with many other Western countries, are concerned by the prospect of an Iranian oil nationalization, as they will lose control of a strategic asset and will probably have to accept a higher price for Iranian oil. The United States Central Intelligence Agency decides to take matters into its own hands. A plot called Operation Ajax is drawn up to overthrow the democratically elected Prime Minister, Mohammad Mossadegh, and install a monarch, the Shah Mohammad Reza Pahlavi. But the CIA needs a reason to justify this despicable plot, besides greed. It would be highly hypocritical for the United States, a country that established a democratic republic after fighting for independence against British colonial monarchy, to betray its founding ideals and help the British depose a democratically elected government and install a monarchy. The justification for this operation would become regularly used by the Cold War CIA, the threat of communism. The CIA justifies Operation Ajax by saying that Mohammad Mossadegh has intentions of allying with the Soviet Union and creating a communist state in Iran. Even though the CIA has absolutely no evidence to justify this claim, Operation Ajax is authorized by the head of the CIA, Allen Dulles, and President Dwight Eisenhower. Kermit Roosevelt, a descendant of President Theodore Roosevelt, is chosen to head Operation Ajax. Before he even reaches Tehran, the Iranian capital, the CIA has begun placing propaganda in the Iranian press. Once Roosevelt arrives, he organizes paid mobs and continues propaganda production. He also works with Iranian General Fazlollah Zahedi, an adversary of Mossadegh, who will help the coup and get the military behind it. On August 15, 1953, a coup is attempted but completely fails. Dozens of conspirators are arrested, and the frightened Shah flees to France. The CIA headquarters in the US tells the CIA in Iran to stop all operations against Mossadegh and give up on the coup. But Kermit Roosevelt has other plans and continues operations. Roosevelt's insubordination will change the course of history forever. On August 19, 1953, crowds paid for and organized partly by the CIA attempt to take control of the country once more. This time, the military is involved on the side of these rented mobs. Zahedi, who is hiding in a safe house, comes back onto the streets riding atop a tank. The Shah decrees from France that he is now the leader of Iran. The next day, Mossadegh turns himself in and is imprisoned. The Shah returns to take control over Iran. This time, the coup is a success. The Anglo-Iranian Oil Company, which will later become British Petroleum, tries to get their oil fields back with some success. However, even the Shah realizes that the Iranian people want more control of their country's natural resources. Despite this, Operation Ajax is still heralded as an all-out success. Kermit Roosevelt becomes an agency hero, and the CIA is overjoyed by the effectiveness of this operation. The CIA will take what they learned in Operation Ajax and will use it to topple other governments, including those with democratically elected leaders. Guatemala, South Vietnam, and countless other countries will be victims of the CIA's heinous actions. Many of these countries' leaders were supposed communists like Mossadegh, but most of the time, the CIA simply had an ulterior motive. Oftentimes, these leaders' successors would be authoritarian despots. Today, the United States' relationship with Iran is still strained. After the 1953 coup, the Iranian people eventually became fed up with the Shah and overthrew him in 1979. He would be replaced by another authoritarian regime, and the Islamic Republic of Iran would be founded. During this process, the United States Embassy was raided by Iranian citizens and American hostages were taken. This event would become famously known as the Iranian Hostage Crisis. It would take many months to get American hostages back to the United States. The repressive government that overthrew the Shah is still in power. However, Iranian citizens have recently begun protesting against the government after the death of Mahsa Amini on September 16, 2022. Amini was killed by Iran's morality police for supposedly breaking Iran's restrictive laws on women's clothing. Thousands took to the streets to protest the regime in Iran, and during the World Cup, the Iranian national soccer team refused to sing their national anthem. Operation Ajax's success had a key role in causing all of this. Bet you didn't know that.